let's go take a look at this. AI is bullshit. Okay, here we go.
Artificial intelligence has had a weird month. Bing's new
Yeah.
AI search engine started gaslighting its own users worse than an abusive boyfriend. While Google shares lost $100 billion after their new AI chatbot made errors so obvious, even a simple Google search would have spotted them. But despite this massive failure, Google's announced they plan to stuff AI into every goddamn product they make like it's cheese on a Pizza Hut menu.
I don't really think that's bad. I mean, obviously the AI isn't going to be perfect. I think this is silly. The premise that, and also like, just because the stock went down doesn't necessarily mean that it makes sense. Like stocks go up and down all the time. I think this is very silly.
And they are not alone. Tech companies are suddenly
Like AI is a work in progress. Of course, it's not going to be able to do things perfectly. Sure.
promising to use AI to revolutionize everything from computer programming to customer service to therapy. Yeah, that's
true.
right. In a couple years, your insurance company's AI billing department will deny your claim to see your health plan's AI therapist. Wow, the future's gonna fucking suck. All of this has gotten people worried that a super intelligent AI is right around the corner.
Roku's
that the
basilisk.
robots are gonna take over. Skynet is real and it's coming for us. Well, guess what? It's all bullshit.
Oh, I don't know if it's all bullshit. I mean, didn't an AI tell somebody to kill themselves because of climate change? So I don't think it's entirely bullshit. It just hasn't happened yet. Well, I don't know. I mean, like, I think that it's 95% of what people worry about is bullshit, but I would also say 95% of what people predicted AI could do in 5 years ago, is probably wrong too. So I don't think you should write blank checks like that.
Fear is a tech bro fantasy designed to distract you from the real risk of AI. That a bunch of dumbass companies are lying about what their broken tech can do so they can trick you into using a worse version of things we already have, all while stealing the work of real people to do it. But before we get
Well, of course not. I don't think that it's stealing. If you, like, for example, you could say that it's stealing. I think you have an argument to be made in terms of like art, because art is trained through copyrighted images. And even I think that's a very weak argument, but that's still a better argument than this. Like if somebody writes a program, like the person who made the calculator, for example, they didn't steal from people who could do long form arithmetic. Like they just simply found a way to automate the process. That's just not how, like it's simply just not stealing. You could say that it's unethical, you could say that it's bad for society, but it is not stealing.
into it, I want to let you know that I am going on tour this year. Head to adamconover.net to get tickets to see me do my new hour of stand-up in these fine cities and many more. I also want to thank usafacts.org for sponsoring this video, a wonderful nonprofit that provides unbiased, objective statistics about America to everyone who visits their site, including some of the numbers I use in this very video.
All right, let's
and
see it.
finally, thank you so much to everyone who supports this series on Patreon. No artificial intelligence was used to write this video, and it's your donations that give me the time I need to write.
Would you say that a spell check identifying a misspelled word or a grammatical error would be technically AI in the same way that machine learning is AI? Because it is automatically changing something based off of, like, I'm just saying. I think that also a lot of people have like a very misunderstood idea of what AI is. AI is a lot of just basically machine learning. It's not a sentient, like, being that's been created inside of a PC. It's a sentient command process. Or sorry, it's a command process. It's not sentient.
Jokes with my soft human brain, then type them with my little meat fingers.
Okay.
So come to a live show or head to patreon.com/AdamConover and support a human today.
All right.
Now, let me say this, .com/AdamConover and support.
Doesn't he kind of look like Quinn? Like if Quinn had glasses and a bit like this is Quinn if Quinn never like Quinn got into guitar instead of PoE, like just a little bit.
Support a human today. Now, let me say this right off the bat. Artificial intelligence is a real field of computer science that's been studied for decades.
It has.
And in recent years, it's made major strides.
It has.
But I'm not talking about that kind of AI.
Okay.
I'm talking about the marketing term AI that tech companies are using to hype up their barely functional products, also they can jack up their stock price. See, tech companies are powered by hype. It's not enough to be profitable. No, in tech, you have to be able to convince investors that you have cutting-edge, disruptive technology that will let you dominate an entire industry.
I understand that the way he's delivering this might make him seem like he's like kind of obnoxious, but what he's saying here is generally true. This part of what he's saying is actually true.
Like Google
Based
did
off
with
of what
search,
everything I
Apple did with
understand.
the iPhone, and Amazon did by making workers pee in bottles and passing the savings on to you.
Oh, yeah.
But now that all that low-hanging fruit has been
Amazon.
plucked off the innovation tree, tech companies have started just making up new words that they claim are going to revolutionize everything in hopes of flim-flamming their way into that investor cash. You know, words like the metaverse, augmented
one I would've
reality, web...
Augmented reality is not one of these words. Augmented reality, an example of that is Pokemon Go. It's a functional, workable process that has already happened. It's existed in multiple games in a functional and also a profitable way. It's just simply not. Metaverse and augmented reality are completely fucking different. And you could even argue that like what a metaverse is effectively a fucking MMO. Let's be honest.
3. And who can
Okay,
forget...
I agree with that one.
Crypto. Last
Okay.
year, every company was racing to
I like
pivot
this
to the
guy, all right.
blockchain. But now that Bankman-Fried has been exposed as a bank fraud man and put the crypt back in crypto, they need some hot new...
I told you, the moment that Seth Green got that NFT stolen was that was the beginning of the end. After that shit happened, it was done. It was all downhill from there.
hype to hawk, and that's artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So in a desperate bid to juice their stock prices, companies from Snapchat to Spotify to BuzzFeed now claim they're going to jam AI into their products. Hey, and maybe next they can program an AI to read BuzzFeed too. That'd take a lot of unpleasant work off our plates. Now, a lot of this hype is just transparent
Is
bullshit.
BuzzFeed still around? I thought BuzzFeed's gone. Yeah, it is? Really? That's crazy.
Shit. I mean, Spotify just released an AI DJ that will create a personalized radio station just for you. Wow.
Don't they have that? I mean, I feel like they have that. Like the Discover Weekly. Isn't that kind of like... I feel like that's basically... You're just taking Discover Weekly and saying that it's AI, right? I mean, like, bro, like... You can even right-click and go to Song Radio, and it doesn't even... Wait, what is... So, yeah, they're renaming things that they've had for 20 years and being like, hey, guys, AI. All right, venture capitalists, line up. Make a line right over there, okay? Yep, it'll go all the way around, yep, behind the building. Uh-huh.
Very impressive,
Oh my
except
God.
that Spotify already fucking does that. What's your next
There you
feature?
go.
An AI volume knob? You can't just release something that already exists and call it AI. Hey, come on down the...
Well, actually, the truth is that most things that people call AI are that. That's is actually kind of close.
Papa Tony's AI pizza shop, but we got AI cheese, AI sauce, and the computer was involved somehow. That was fully a vampire voice. But it's not all empty talk. The biggest tech companies are unleashing an experimental technology called generative AI onto the public, despite the fact that in most cases, it straight up cannot do what they claim and is making all of our lives worse. This actually isn't the first time the tech industry has turned us into their AI guinea pigs. Remember
Okay.
self-driving cars? For years, companies like Google, Uber, and Tesla have told investors that any day now, they're going to...
In 50 years, I wouldn't be surprised if it was illegal to drive your own car. Self-driving cars are inevitable. Anybody who thinks otherwise is delusional.
Replace the 228 million licensed drivers in the US with AI autopilots. Hell, Elon's been predicting that Teslas will be fully self-driving next year since fucking 2014.
It'll happen.
These companies were so successful at making the technology seem inevitable that multiple states actually allowed self-driving cars to be deployed on the roads that real people drive on. So
my understanding, actually, an example of this is the Google self-driving cars, the map cars. A lot of the cars that did Google Earth were self-driving, and the only accidents that those cars had were accidents that was the fault of the other driver. So I don't know if this is really a good argument. I actually think self-driving cars is... That's not true. Maybe it's not. I don't want to claim this for sure, but that's what I remember reading. And either way, I think that self-driving cars, the technology behind them, this is inevitable. To say that self-driving cars aren't going to happen is insane. However, I do think that you can still be skeptical whenever they say it's happening next year, guys, for sure.
So how did that turn out?
A Tesla, believed to be on autopilot, started braking, causing an 8-car pileup on Thanksgiving.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Nope, nope, nope. It wanted to hit the truck.
Whoa.
Okay, but in that AI's defense, that child was blocking the lane to Whole Foods. After years of broken promises and $100 billion wasted, pretty much everyone has finally agreed that self-driving cars just don't work. But the truth is...
I mean, I don't think that's everyone. I think that's one guy at Business Week. I find this to be like probably the weakest argument against AI, because I feel like there are so many other examples that you can use that are much better than self-driving cars. Like, there's already self-driving cars. People are making advancements in it. You're right. Everybody isn't driving around in self-driving cars yet. No. But it's a lot better probably than it was 5 years ago. And then 5 years ago, it's probably a lot better than it was 10 years ago.
They never
Eventually
did.
It will happen.
It was always a lie. Tesla is currently being criminally investigated by the Department of Justice because it turns out the videos they made promoting their self-driving feature were literally faked. They also falsely advertised their...
No, they're being sued does not mean it happened.
...cars as having autopilot and full self-driving. And since the world is full of gullible simps who believe every tainted word that falls out of Elon Musk's idiot mouth, that inspired some drivers to take their hands off the wheel and go all Luke Skywalker on the I-95. Use the AI, Adam. Let go. God damn it, that's the second kid today. People died as a result.
Yeah.
Last year, 10 people were killed by Tesla's self-driving cars in just...
I think that if... I don't really like this argument because, again, I think that you can also attest to almost every other type of, like, innovation. I'm sure that whenever you were creating industrial machines that would help build cars, that people probably died in the process of that because they fucked up. The machines fucked up. Like, that's what happens. Right? Like, absolutely. Like, this is just in the process of developing better technology, mistakes are made. People fucked up making airplanes. People fucked up making computers. And some of these fuck-ups killed people. That's just what happens. It doesn't make it okay. They should still get sued for it. But it also doesn't mean that you should not pursue better technology because there is a fringe case that could cause harm to somebody. That would be insane. You can't do that.
4 months. Which might be why the government just made them recall 300,000 cars. What even people in the tech industry are starting to realize is that there are certain things that computers are just fundamentally ill-equipped to do as well as humans. Humans are incredibly good at taking in novel stimuli we've never experienced before, reasoning about who's responsible for them and why.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't think that's true at all. Actually, I think tons of people are not good at that. Like, I would trust ChatGPT more than the average person with figuring out who's responsible for something bad happening. Absolutely. Because most people are just going to go with their own bias. They're going to, and they have partial information on it to begin with.
Then predicting what's going to happen next. If you were stopped at a crosswalk in Los Angeles because, say, James Corden was blocking the road and doing a stupid dance in a mouse costume, well, you'd combine your knowledge of irritating pop culture with your understanding of human nature and the bizarre sight in front of you and conclude, oh, I appear to be in the middle of some sort of horrible viral prank for a late-night talk show, and there's nothing I can do but grit my teeth and wait for it to be over. But
Yeah, but the thing is that the Tesla self-driving car, number one, it sounds like this guy wouldn't mind if it ran the guy over. And number two would just go, whoop! And you wouldn't even know that shit happened. That dude in the mouse costume, whatever, you'd just be like, whoop! Oh, is that James Oh, shit. Like, you probably wouldn't even be paying attention. You'd be on your phone. So I feel like this is an argument for self-driving cars, if anything else.
Self-driving car hasn't seen the Late Late Show. It doesn't even watch Colbert. So it might conclude, oh, that's a mouse, hit the gas, and flatten the motherfucker. And you know, that would be a way funnier segment for the show, but we wouldn't exactly call it intelligent. Now look, a lot of self-driving tech is genuinely really cool, and it does have important real-world uses, like collision prevention and enhanced cruise control. But the idea that we'd all be kicking it in the back seat with a Mai Tai while a robo-taxi drove us to work was always a science fiction fantasy. And
let's say it is. Let's say it is. And does that mean that self-driving cars are not something that should be pursued because of the, you know, like, the fucking, what's the word for it? The tangential benefits. For example, Velcro was invented. I think it was because of NASA. I know it was because of the government. And this was an advantage that the world now has. And people have Velcro, and it has improved a lot of people's lives in different ways. I think this is, in general, an improvement in life. So I think the argument that, how do you think that you got to that crash prevention? How do you think that you got to, I forgot the other thing you mentioned, probably through the same general process of self-driving cars and refining the technology that makes the car more crash adverse. So yeah, cruise control. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I feel like that's the same general process.
When companies like Tesla told us it was coming, it was a lie. A lie told to boost their share price and to trick us into doing what they wanted. To change our laws to permit their untested, in many cases fraudulent technology onto the public roads, where it hurt and killed people.
I will say, I don't know how many people are driving around. Like, this is what I would really want to know about, right? Is not, I don't care about, like, if a Tesla car killed somebody. I care about how many Tesla cars killed how many people, because a lot of people die every year to auto crashes. So, like, is it higher or lower than the average? That's the question I want to know. 10 isn't a lot. Yeah, but 10 is a lot if there were only 100 people doing it. That means there's a 10% chance that you getting on the road is going to result in a fucking crash. So, and that's what I'm saying. So, like, there's not enough information here for me to say that, and, like, I think this guy doesn't like Tesla, it seems. I think that, again, you know, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Even if you don't like Tesla, I think it is naive to think that self-driving cars, to an extent, will not be an inevitability. I don't know this entirely. I read this somewhere, so I'm not. Please do not fucking say that I said that this is true, because I'm not sure. But I read that there have been a number of processes that are even done by airline pilots that have been automated, such as the speed of the fucking of the airliner. So I just man, like I just, why are we like, self-driving cars is like worst argument.
And guess what? That same cycle is happening again. Massive tech companies are making us the guinea pigs for their barely functional bullshit. Only this time, they're calling it generative AI. So Google and Microsoft's search engines are crumbling. Google has been getting worse and worse every year, transforming from what used to be a useful tool into a cesspool of ads and SEO spam. And Bing is,
and they also censor results.
Bing. I don't even have a joke about it. The name is a punchline.
Well, I don't even know if Bing is bad. But I've been using Google ever since like 2000 or 1999. I used Google to look up cheats in Super Mario World. Turns out there weren't any. I was so fucking upset. There was no Konami code I could put at the beginning of the game.
You tell people you binged something, they literally laugh in your face.
I wonder why.
In an effort to get ahead, Microsoft has poured more than $10 billion into ChatGPT, an AI chatbot that produces shockingly coherent responses to questions posed to it in natural language. Now, I'm not going to explain how machine learning models like ChatGPT work in detail. If you want that, there's a couple great blog posts that I'll link to in the description. But the short version is, if you feed one of these models a large structured collection of symbols, like say text, images, or frames of video, it can output a similarly structured collection using probability to determine which word, pixel, or video frame is most likely to come next based on all the training data it's ingested.
Absolutely.
In other words, these are incredibly sophisticated imitation systems. If you feed a language model every Sherlock Holmes story ever written, it can output new text that resembles a Sherlock Holmes story. If you feed it every piece of text on the internet, it can output text that resembles any piece of text you can find on the internet.
Yes.
It can even mash up different text and create a new output that resembles both at once. Do you want to read a steamy romance novel where Sherlock Holmes falls in love with King Koopa? Well, somebody does, and ChatGPT can output it for you, you delightful perv. Now, that is legitimately cool, and it makes machine learning models really fun to play around with and very useful for people who need to generate large amounts of pattern-based output, like computer programmers, audio transcriptionists, and spammers. These things are mostly going to revolutionize spam. That Nigerian prince is about to get a creative writing degree.
That's actually not true. Nigerian prince scams are intentionally worded badly in order to only curate, and so the people that are running them spend their time invested in only the stupidest people. So they are intentionally written badly to only attract the biggest idiots, because that's what the highest return on investment of the scammer's time is.
You know what ChatGPT is?
Maybe they can make it better at being dumber.
Isn't though? A fucking search engine. But in a desperate attempt to...
I don't see why it wouldn't be a search engine. Because doesn't Google's algorithm already effectively use machine learning? By seeing like how many people are searching for something and then boosting it closer to the top of the results? I feel like a search engine is probably one of the main things an AI could do.
Ride the hype wave, Microsoft jammed it into Bing, pretending that this fancy monkey on a typewriter could somehow provide factual answers to real people's real questions. And the results were, bad. Even the launch video that Microsoft used to advertise their new AI search engine was full of errors. In their own video, Bing claimed that a well-known brand of cordless vacuum cleaner had a cord that was too short. When asked for bar reviews in Mexico City, it claimed that a non-existent bar was popular with the young crowd. And when asked when Avatar 2 was playing, pretty simple question for a search engine, Bing told a user it hadn't premiered yet because it was still 2022. When the user said, no, I'm pretty sure it's 2023 because I am alive in this year, Bing gaslit the user, claimed that they were lying, and said,
"You have not been a good user. I have been a good Bing."
I think I need to take...
If that's true, I love it. Oh my god. Holy fuck, that's amazing.
A restraining order out against my search engine. Ask Jeeves gave shitty results too, but at least he was a gentleman about it. Now, you'd think that Google, one of the world's most profitable companies and a literal search engine monopolist, would look at this flaming turd and laugh. But no. Instead they said, "Oh shit. We gotta get our own turd fast. Quick, somebody shit in my hands." Google immediately rushed out their own AI search engine, a launch that was...
I don't know. I feel like you could have made this argument about video games in the 80s, right? That like video games don't look like real people and they don't look like real games. And they're not realistic. But people have the vision that one day they would be. And so they invest in it. I feel like that's the idea, right? Is that you invest in something and then over time that thing becomes real. You can make that argument about anything failing to make its purpose. I think that you can. You're right about that. But I think the reason why the argument doesn't work for AI is the fact that AI seems to be improving quickly. I don't think anybody can make the argument that whatever you want to call what AI is right now is a lot better than what AI was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So it's already improving and it is providing real tangible benefits and meeting real benchmarks that it was not able to meet previously, like passing the bar exam or SATs. So, and that's why I'm using the example of video games, is that video games progressively improved over time. Yeah, if it wasn't improving quickly, companies wouldn't be fighting to control it. Exactly.
So disastrous, even Google's own employees called bullshit on it. Now, I have no idea why the fuck Microsoft and Google think that you could use an AI language model as a replacement for a search engine.
I think you absolutely will be able to.
Because it is patently obvious that they are useless for that purpose. See, people go to search engines to find factual information, to find specific resources they need access to, or in my case, to search for my own name 200 times a day. But AI language models can't provide you any of those things. All they do is predict which word the training data says is most likely to come next. And since their training data is the entire internet, that means their training data is full of a lot of dumb shit. But you know, when a regular search engine shows you dumb internet shit, you use your human brain and you say, oh, this shit is dumb. I don't think I should get my health advice from Turd Gobbler 69. I'ma click on the Mayo Clinic instead. But the AI doesn't do that. It doesn't know the difference between a reliable expert and a biased idiot.
Not yet. I feel like every argument against AI that's been made so far I would just add yet at the end of it. Like I really think this is very reductive.
Because it doesn't even know that people exist. It's just a parrot, choosing words it's heard before out of a big ass hat. So when there is
truth to this, that a lot of people try to oversell what AI is. And AI is not sentient as if it's like a human or a dog or like anything like that. No, it's not, but it probably will at some point. And also, even if it's not able to do that, it can do other things that are very useful and disrupt massive multi-billion-dollar markets that this guy even used in his example is computer programming.
Dumb shit.
And it's very obvious that it works with art. It's been working.
In its training data, it poops that dumb shit back out at you and claims that it's true. And here's the real problem. Because these companies are advertising their AIs as hyper-accurate oracles of perfect knowledge, a lot...
I don't think they're advertising them as that. I think that everybody that's going into the AI, I think that everybody knows that it's a work in progress. They don't? Yeah, I don't think so.
A lot of people fucking believe it. A company called...
No, I think that people believe it because they want to. That's definitely true, but I don't think it has to do with that specifically. One sec, my dad's calling me. Okay, I'm good. We're good. Everything's fine. I'm taking my car up in a little while to get it fixed. So there's nothing. Everything's we're good. This was planned.
OpenCage has been deluged by emails from angry customers because ChatGPT told them they make a product that doesn't exist. And when you ask ChatGPT for facts about me, it literally tells you I'm a producer on The Simpsons. My own mom blames me that the show sucks now. I can't have that kind of misinformation out there. So why do people believe this patent bullshit? Simple. The fact that ChatGPT can give seemingly fluent, coherent responses is designed to trick us into thinking that it can do more than it can, even that it's approaching human levels of intelligence.
I think he's right about this because that would raise the company more money. I think that it's in the company's best interest to make the AI seem like it's more advanced than what it is. I think that it's a very reductive way of explaining it. But I do think that fundamentally that's kind of true. But it's not true as in like a big gotcha. It's true as in like a yeah, obviously.
Last month, the New York Times' most gullible tech reporter, Kevin Roose, published a transcript of a conversation with Bing headlined, "Bing's AI chat reveals its feelings." Kevin, Bing does not have feelings. Bing doesn't even know you're there, buddy. It's literally just an algorithm that predicts what word comes next in a sentence. It's autocomplete. It's fucking clippy. But Kevin was like,
I think that there's truth to this. Absolutely. Yeah, some people really, really overplay what AI is. Absolutely. I think he's right, but I think that because he's used, like, I feel like there's the self-driving cars argument and then whatever the other one was, the search engine argument. I think it, you know, contextually people might disagree with this because the other two ones I don't think really were that good. But this one is definitely true. It's AI is not, you know, the ghost in the machine, at least not yet.
I'm trying to write a letter. It's in love with me. But you know what? We should all cut Kev a little bit of slack, because he's making the most natural of errors, and it's one that AI researchers have known about for years. In a famous paper called On the Danger of Stochastic Parrots, AI researchers Emily Bender, Timnit Gebru, and their co-authors predicted exactly this phenomenon. See, humans are hardwired for language. If we see a string of words that make grammatical sense, we naturally search for and find meaning in it. And we naturally tend to assume that there must be a mind like ours behind it, even when all we're looking at is word salad barfed out by a probabilistic parrot. As the researchers wrote, the tendency of human interlocutors to impute meaning where there is none can mislead both researchers and the public into taking synthetic text as meaningful. And that...
Well, if it wasn't meaningful, then people wouldn't be paying for it. I think that obviously if it wasn't meaningful, then it wouldn't have passed the bar exam. I think that to say that it's not meaningful is, and also like it clearly has meaning in certain ways. I don't even, like, what does meaning even mean? Like, it feels like a Bill Clinton moment, right? What the definition of is, but like, what does meaning mean?
Makes language models dangerous because it means that we naturally trust what they say. The potential harms of that are enormous.
Do people naturally trust what an AI says? I would argue that fucking naturally trusting what anybody says is fucking dangerous. Personally.
Bad actors could use them to...
Yeah, I think that you know what? I do think that you're right. I think this is... Yes. People view AI incorrectly, but they do. They view AI as infallible because it's a computer, same as a calculator, and they will trust AI completely. Yeah, okay, this is a decent point. All right.
Generate mountains of believable misinformation. Racist biases in the training data could be spread widely and reinforced because it must be true, the AI said it.
Yeah.
And just like poor Kevin Roose, people could be tricked into thinking that a language model is actually communicating with them, when in fact, it doesn't even know they exist. For these reasons.
Does it matter? Does it matter if the AI language model knows that they exist or not? It's like if you jerk off to AI art, AI hentai, I mean, you still jerked off. I mean, it still happened. Doesn't really matter who made it, does it? Which is good as fuck, by the way. Yeah, I know.
Timnit Gebru and her colleagues called on their field to recognize that applications that aim to believably mimic humans bring risk of extreme harms.
They do.
And they urged that more research be done on them before they were released. That was in 2021. And when Gebru and her colleagues wrote this paper, she was working at Google as an AI ethicist, which seems perfect, right? I mean, that's what they hired her to do. So they probably took her caution to heart, tapped the brakes on their AI program, and carefully researched its impacts, right?
When has there ever been a time that new tech has been implemented and they're just like, you know what? This is too dangerous. Like, let's not put it out yet. That doesn't happen. Anytime that any crazy shit like people invent, it's like, yeah, okay, let's put it out there. Yep, as quick as we can. Yeah, phones exploding. Like, yeah, that's innovation. Exactly.
Right? No, they didn't. Instead, they fucking fired her. Yeah, they said, sorry, you did your job too good and we don't like what you said.
Yep.
Pack your shit. This is like firing the weatherman because you're not happy a hurricane is on the way. Fuck you and your Cat 5, Carl. I own this weather station and I want to take my boat out.
Let's see. Is that the same as the weatherman? No, not necessarily, because this is still an analysis. This is a subjective analysis that's built on like things like meaning. Like, what is meaning? Meaning is it's a subjective valuation. And ethics are not as defined, I don't think, as the weather.
Then, just a few weeks ago, Microsoft laid off their own team of AI ethicists. And now, both companies are hitting the gas, pumping out AI-powered projects as fast as they fucking can, no matter who gets hurt.
That's right.
Isn't it funny? Every time you hear the tech titans blather on about the dangers of AI...
It's the same thing that happened with social media. You think they sat around and thought about, wow, this could be really dangerous if like kids see all these perfect women and perfect guys that are on Instagram. It might really fuck with their head. Let's do a 10-year longitudinal study about this. Bro, fuck that. Put it out. Let's see what happens.
They're always talking about the science fiction version, where an AI becomes conscious and takes over the world. But all that fear-mongering is just more marketing. Call it fear marketing. That spooky science fiction story is designed to grab headlines and distract us from the real danger of AI.
I don't think it's about distracting. I think it's just about making money. But yeah, okay, sure.
Which is that the real-life humans in Silicon Valley are using it to fuck us all over right now. Because here's the brutal truth. Even the name of this technology is a lie. If you so much as scratch any one of these so-called artificial intelligences, you will find underpaid, exploited, ripped off humans making the system work.
Yeah.
A Time magazine investigation recently found that to keep all the
That's right. True. I can guarantee that there are... Yep, that's everything. Yep. That's... I mean... Who's to say that's not the person that made this TV here, this light here, the shirt, the microphone, the camera? I mean, that's how it is. It's nothing special about AI.
internet filth and sludge out of ChatGPT and DALL-E, OpenAI makes Kenyan workers sift through toxic content, identifying which fragments are too violent, sexually explicit, or disturbing to be used in the training data. Okay. These workers are exposed to graphic scenes of violence and death, sexual assault, and child sexual abuse. And in exchange, they are paid under $2 an hour.
We should make it
$2! I mean, why should I be worried about AI taking over when...
It should at least be 3, guys. Like, let's be honest. It should be 3 baseless claims. Well, I mean, it's not... I mean, I don't know. I would believe that. Yeah, I would totally believe that. Wow, I can't believe it. A big company is paying people in a third world country to do something for less money. Yeah, sure, I could believe that's happening. Uh-huh. And they all do it. Yeah, they do it.
The humans who are currently in charge are doing this shit. Even the Terminator would be like,
wow, that is fucked up.
But even if OpenAI were paying people whatever wage is fair for that kind of work, I don't know, $5 grand an hour and free therapy for life, it wouldn't make their shit any less exploitative. Because their entire business...
The cops have to do this too, by the way. A lot of cops and like content moderators for Facebook and Instagram have to do the exact same thing. There were a lot of articles about it, about how like they're not really paid enough. And like some cops, it's like they'll get into some, you know, project or something like this and they'll see things and it fucks their head up and it's like really, really bad. So I think that this is not an AI exclusive problem, because police officers and also content moderators on existing social media platforms already have to deal with this. And you can't have a social media platform without these people.
Business model is built on using the work of literal millions of humans without paying them. Remember.
Oh, they did pay them. They paid them $2 an hour. Wait, what do you mean? They literally just paid them $2 an hour.
So-called generative AI like ChatGPT and DALL-E should actually be called imitative AI. They can output whatever kind of text or image you want if they're provided with an enormous amount of training data to copy off of. And you know where that training data comes from? Fucking humans.
That's right.
You want DALL-E to make you an image of me, shirtless, eating a piece of pizza in the style of a DeviantArt anime artist? Well,
actually, DeviantArt, yeah, let's not see it.
Can do it. But only because it's copying the real work of millions of real artists. Not to mention thousands of real-life photos of me. It took hours for me to perfect that come-hither pizza stare. And when you go to ChatGPT and type, write the script for an episode of Adam Ruins Everything, you get output that looks a lot like my old show. Why? Did some super smart AI come up with the premise, the character I play, and the topics I choose to cover? No. I did. And then some motherfucker in Palo Alto wrote an algorithm that scrambles up my work and feeds it back to me. Yep. That's not artificial intelligence. That's my intelligence. And when I use my soft pink brain, I generally like to be paid for it because that's how I afford the food that keeps it running. Now, AI companies might want to claim that all of this is just fair.
Well, I see a solution to that. I mean, you just have UBI, Universal Basic Income. That way it's not a problem. Yeah, problem solved. That way he doesn't have to worry about getting paid and everybody can do whatever. Because that's what's going to happen. You're never going to be able to enforce this at all. At a certain point, AI and the technology will become such a incomprehensible amalgamation of human knowledge that you can never go back again. We're never going to go back to a time without the internet. We're never going to go back to a time without cell phones or something like, maybe, I don't know. But definitely not without the internet. And probably not without a few other things that I'm not thinking about enough abstractly. That's it. Without cars? I don't disagree with that. Atomic war? Oh, yeah. No, I'm assuming like not like, oh, well, what if the fuck, yeah, but what if the fucking planet gets hit by some fucking asteroid shit, and it fucking hits the planet, and then like the planet blows up? Well, then you're not gonna have the internet because the planet's gonna be blown up, and it's gonna be like fucking orbiting around like another planet because it's been fucking destroyed. Like, yeah, obviously, guys. Yeah, there are examples of that not being the case, but I think that in general, assuming society does not completely fucking collapse, I think we're not going to get rid of the internet, okay? The point is that I think that AI, like, the cat's out of the bag, man. You're not putting the cat back in the bag. And as much as you think it's unethical, as much as you think that it's wrong, nobody over in fucking India might give a shit about that, or China, or Russia. So it doesn't matter like how many laws the United States has about AI. China doesn't have those fucking laws. And then China is actually intensely trying to develop AI to make more money. And guess what's going to happen? Then people are going to choose to buy things that are Chinese rather than American because China is able to expedite more of the process faster and produce better resources for the customer. So all this does in the long run is make the country less competitive on a global scale, and it just hurts us. You can either embrace the change or you can die. You can't live in a world that just never changes. Life is about evolution. That's what happens. And it is a very unfortunate evolution for a lot of people. It's horrible. But the cat is out of the bag. And it's only going to get out of the bag. It's only going to get farther away from the fucking bag. There's nothing you can do. I mean, really, like, that's what I think. I think it's out of the bag. China already has much better facial recognition software. Yeah. Like, and then whenever they're developing, like, for example, if there's a Chinese video game that can infinitely create content where you never do the same raid ever again, and you constantly fight new bosses forever, and the bosses are really good, do you want to play that, or do you want to farm Molten Core again? Do you want to run fucking Lazarus and Genesis in fucking New World again? Do you want to farm? Oh yeah, great. Let's do Vicus again. Oh, someone didn't fucking do the typing test. It must be one of Asmongold's alts. All right, well, we're fucking dead. Let's do it again. So yeah, I think some people will, but a lot of people won't. And I think there's a lot of things also that are in that in between, and that's where the real money is.
Use, and therefore it's legal. It's just like a remix, y'all.
It doesn't matter if it's legal or not. Nobody cares about the law.
DJ AI! But you know what? Artists don't agree, which is why they've gotten together to sue the shit out of them.
So
and I hope they win. Because
what are they gonna sue China? They're gonna sue, like, you see, like, this is the, it's just like, this is such a USA centric point of view. Nobody gives a fuck about the United States laws in most of the world. Yeah, they'll extradite super bad criminals, but a lot of the other ones they don't really care about. Like, it's just such an insane, like, way of thinking. And it's like we exist in a global culture, and you think that changing our laws is going to, like, what do you think is going to happen? What's happened to China? You think that's worked with China? No. Everybody's using VPNs in China. They're using the internet constantly. It doesn't work. And thank God it doesn't work. Imagine if the government had this much power that it could stop global innovation. That'd be horrible.
Truth of the matter is that these artificial intelligence apps are fundamentally built on the uncompensated work of real people, and their business model is to undercut the work of humans, all while using our own work to do it. Instead of reading an article by a real journalist when you have a question, Microsoft wants you to use Bing to blend up the work of every journalist in America into a shit milkshake. Instead of paying an artist to create art for your website, they want you to pay.
I think that the hentai example is so good for this. So, if you jerk off to an AI-generated waifu, does it really matter that it was AI-generated?
DALL-E, an app trained on the images of real artists without paying those artists a single goddamn poorly rendered dime. And just last month, it was revealed that Apple had started training an imitation AI on the voices of audiobook narrators without telling them, then used it to create new AI audiobooks.
Yeah, of course.
See? We don't need to wait around for some...
We saw that with the that one Warcraft thing, the Elwyn Forest.
Super intelligent AI to fuck over humanity. Tim Cook can do that all by himself. But you know what? I can't see the future. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the robots do come for us one day. I'm not worried about that either. Because now I know. The AI needs...
I thought this was going to be an ad for NordVPN.
us. It can't do a single thing without using our humanity as input. And that means we have...
I disagree with this. Okay, let me ask you a question. I wonder if this guy had to fight against two things. Would you rather fight against, in an open environment, like with like limited cover, would you rather fight against a trained U.S. soldier or an AI robot that is trained to shoot a gun at a target? Who would you want to fight against? No, I certainly wouldn't want to have to fight the robot. I'll tell you that.
An advantage. See, as good as AI has gotten at imitating what humans have done in the past, the real difference between us and the machines is that we still have the ability to do new things that no one has ever thought of before. Just last month, the strongest Go-playing AI in the world was beaten by a lowly human amateur who used an unorthodox strategy that was so stupid, no human had ever tried it before. I mean, trust me, if you understood Go, you'd realize that's a pretty funny board position. But because it wasn't in the training data, the AI didn't even notice that it was happening until the moment it lost. Then there's one of the best headlines I have ever read: Marines fooled a DARPA.
This is actually true. I was actually thinking of this whenever I was creating the example. I was like, well, actually, wait a second. Yeah, I remember seeing this.
Robot by hiding in a cardboard box while giggling and pretending to be trees. Wow, turns out AI hasn't advanced since the guards in Metal Gear Solid. If you're an artist and you want to beat AI art, well, you can make something so new, so bizarre and beautiful that there isn't even a name yet to type into the fucking DALL-E chat bar. And you will, because that's what humans do. We create new things. We think new thoughts. We discover new facts about the universe. That is what separates us from other living things. And that is what separates us from the AI.
I don't like the othering of AI because I think that people are going to use AI to discover further things. Like, I don't think that AI is discovering it, not people. People are discovering it with AI. The same as people use, like, telescopes and satellites.
The AI. What a pathetic joke to even call what these things do intelligence to begin with. They're not human minds. They're not anything like human minds. We don't just imitate what we've done in the past. We're not just some bundle of probabilities on a hard drive. The human brain evolved over millions of years, and it is so complex that we don't even understand how it works yet. And we use this marvelous meat machine in our skulls to observe the world around us. We reason about why it is the way it is. We communicate with other minds about what we've learned, and we create new things with that knowledge. And we used it to create ChatGPT, an algorithm that can write shitty fan fiction. Well, weird choice, but good for us, I guess. It's pretty cool. But let's score a point for humanity here and use our soft, squishy human brains to do one more thing that Silicon Valley's dumbass algorithm can't. Let's use it to tell the difference between a truth and a lie and stop believing their bullshit. Thank you folks so much for watching. If you want to support what I'm doing here, please head to patreon.com.
I can't wait to come back to this video in 5 years. And in 5 years, I'll be excited to come back to the video 5 years after that.
Check out all my tour dates at adamconover.net. Thank you so much again. See you in a couple weeks with the next video.
I think that the guy brought up a few good points. I don't think that a lot of them were very good. I think that, again, these are arguments that have been used for previous types of tech. For example, in terms of like intuition, people argued against cars because a horse could take a drunk dude home at night and would know where to go, but a car wouldn't. You know what? Maybe sometime soon it'll be a self-driving car that will be able to do the same thing. Based horse, yeah. We won't get UBI, just a slave class? Oh, good. That's exciting. That's a pretty legit argument. It was back then. People took that shit seriously. I think, again, even if I don't agree with everything that he says, I think that it's always... I like watching videos like this because it's insightful to see other people's perspective on things, especially people who you generally disagree with. And, like, you know, listen to what they have to say and what their point of view is. I do disagree. I disagree with the premise of this video. I think that he's wrong, and I think that time will prove me right. But I can't really prove that. I think that, again, all you have to do is look at the only data that I have is every single innovation in technology in history. You know, can't be sure. Yeah, I mean, like, who knows? Who knows what could happen? But that's what it is.